Good evening, House of Reviews here. Today, reviewing a video game. About time I finally get to Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. With the Rayman DLC now out, I figured now is the perfect time to finally review it. And, yeah, this is a positive review. I guess I should also mention, as you're probably all aware by now, this is the final game Charles Martinet will ever play Mario, and yeah, it's bittersweet. I'm sure a lot of people were personally hoping for him to reprise his role one more time for Super Mario Bros. Wonder, like my brother, but yeah, I'm okay. For what it is, it's still worthy enough for a final project for him to do. So, in many ways, this is actually a completely different game. It is still a sequel, but they've expanded a lot of things and changed a lot of things. I mean, it's so incredible to think just how different both Kingdom Battle and Sparks of Hope are. I mean, the obvious thing you could say is we're no longer in the Mushroom Kingdom, we're in outer space. Yeah, basically the plot, I will summarize the plot pretty quickly. So, I'm not sure how long this is set between the Kingdom battle, but the Mario crew and the Rabbids are slowly starting to integrate themselves in the Mushroom Kingdom and, becoming basic citizens along with, so base, and, like, so Rabbid Mario, Rabbid Luigi, and Rabbid Peach are living well in the Mushroom Kingdom, well, regular Mario, Peach, and Luigi. However, all of a sudden, a mysterious manta ray from outer space comes attacking them in search of trying to capture a mysterious creature known as a Spark, a Rabbid and Luma hybrid. After escaping the manta ray with the help of Beepo, the robotic assistant from the first game, the six of them journey off to outer space in a new spaceship with controlled by an artificial intelligence Beepo created called Genie. The six go off to save the universe from this mysterious entity known as Cursor, who wants to take all the Spark's power and use it for herself to take over the world. And along the way, they meet up with new allies, including Rabbid Rosalina, trying to find the regular Rosalina, which I think you can kind of guess what exactly happened to her. Bowser, who wants to reclaim his army after they was brainwashed by Cursor, and a new mysterious character known as Edge, an original IP, original character. I'm just gonna say I love Edge as a character. She's a really you know a great character. I mean, it's obvious. You can basically say she's a rabid version of Cloud Strife, but I mean, it's a different sort of character, and at least she doesn't have amnesia and all that. But she does hide a lot of things, honestly. And Rob Rosalie is also pretty nice, honestly. I just love this drowsy, lazy hero, you know, but has this undeniable love towards regular Rosalie and one of the rabid wardens that you meet in outer space. Yeah. And of course, I guess I'll mention Rayman later with one of the campaigns, but yeah. It's basically, the plot is still, it goes a bit more of an epic sort of feel, but this is no, say, a grand story like, say, something like a Mortal Kombat or the Mortal Kombat games at the moment, or even, in my view, the best Mario story in Super Paper Mario, but it's still close enough. It's still serviceable. And it really does help with the humor, honestly. I mean, there's some really good, funny bits in this. I mean, the rabbits aren't at their most annoying, much like the first game. The rabbits aren't at their peak of annoyance in this. They're at a good level, and what actually is kind of nice is the fact they've gone with unique voices for the rabbits now. I mean, Rabbit Mario is a traditional Brooklyn accent. You've got Rabbit Peach is more of a social diva. Rabbit Luigi is probably the weirdest just because it's meant to be a young kid, but it's not quite. It's hip. I would say more early teens, I'm not seeing a young kid. Edge is the gothic, stereotype. You got Rabbit Rosalie as a you know, sleepy head. They do really good voices for them, and I really like to see that continue on. And of course you got the music. Grant Kirkhope returned once again. turns once again to the composer along with two new people. Gareth Croker, who's done a lot of indie games, trying to remember which one, and Yoko Shimomura, the main composer behind Kingdom Hearts, but also has worked on a lot of the Mario RPGs, and Street Fighter 2, It's always good. So yeah, they're very different styles, but in many ways they actually all work. They all sound meshed together for each of them. Each of them work really well together when it comes to their musical cues, and they're able to bounce off their tracks well in transition. They do really good jobs. The level is. I should also mention that the biggest changes of this are oh yeah, the graphics are also pretty good. The Snowdrop engine looks still amazing, but I love what's the most different with this is the battle design and level design. The levels aren't a straightforward path like the first game is. These are open environments that you can explore. I mean they're round, they're very round, and you can pretty much go anywhere you want on this. You're not restricted to one single path. And there are a lot of NPCs to talk with and all that. The missions are, handled pretty well. They're all in their own distinct area, so it's you need to explore it and see some distinct landmarks that Beepo can talk a bit about. Actually, he doesn't do that in the Rayman DLC though, so yeah, there is that. But these are very different. These planets feel very much like a real thing. You can just basically go wherever you want to go and face and do whatever you want. There's nothing stopping you. You make your own decisions whether you want to continue off the main story or do some side quests. I love stuff like that, and it's really unique. And the battle system is also handled pretty differently. I mean, yes, it's still a tactical RPG where you control your characters, um, do some actions, and after your turn, the enemies are going to do it. But in this case, once again, the battle. First off, the battles take place in their own distinct little pocket areas when you after you initiate a battle. And like once you enter a specific zone, you have to face and you have to face that challenge in the first game. You get sent to a battle arena, so to say, and I kind of like that. Though I will admit the level designs, I mean, they're fine. But I mean, they're I just, it's fun just to, face them in a different sort of area than having to face them automatically on the grid, the first game. But there's still a bit of charm with both. You can sort of decide which version do you like, the traditional approach in the first game or this newer approach in the sequel. It's really good. Well, all the returning characters all are basically the same classes as you expect from the first game, though with some unique differences. Their weapons have been changed a bit, like Mario's now rocking two guns, as you can see here. Um, you've got Luigi's now actually using a crossbow. Bow. Peach's umbrella is actually her weapon. Rabbid Luigi uses a flying disc instead of a yo-yo, and you can basically say each of these weapons are completely different from the first game, but they still fundamentally fit, and their traditional abilities from the first game also still sort of correlate. You've got Mario and Luigi can still use their hero sight abilities where they can target an enemy as they're running towards them. Peach can heal anyone. Rabbid Luigi I know can exhaust players much like he did in the first game as well, and Peach has her safeguard ability. Um, and Rabbids, of course, brings in the tanks with his fists and all that, and can also, he's basically like your second wall and all that. But its new characters are probably my favorites. I mean, Edge is obviously uses a sword instead of a gun, and she has similar a hero side ability to Mario and Luigi, but it's more weaker as it only operates in a small distance. But with that said, Edge is also handled pretty well as that her sword can rebound off other enemies to score consecutive hits, and that's also really nice to do. Rabbit Rosalina uses a bazooka in the form of a plushie, so it's more like she has the Rabbit Yoshi mechanics, and I like. And for what that said, I was able to enjoy a lot from her. She also can cause people her ability is that she can make people fall asleep, and that's also pretty good for some characters like some tough enemies and boss fights. Bowser is a bazooka. He's a bazooka, much like how Yoshi used a bazooka in the first game, and it's pretty interesting. I like using Bowser a lot when it comes to dealing the hits, but it's more his special ability that's the best thing. Is where he sends in rabid mecha troopers to um to attack enemies or head towards them and detonate. I like that. I like Bowser's special ability, which helps out a lot. And much like Rat Mario, he can also be very good to for defensive battles and that. Um, when he I will. Other than that, yeah. I will say this game isn't as hard as the first. I found the first game to be really hard at certain points, but I found it a lot easier with this. But with that said, I think the boss fights, yeah, I like the bosses enough in this, but they're not. I wouldn't say they're. Yeah, there's some good ones, but there's some all right ones. Just saying. A lot of challenges is just exploring this world and the planets, and taking care of all these threats. And I mean, I mean, some of the boss fights like the Spark Hunters are pretty unique, especially their designs and all that, and how you meet the new characters around them and their connections towards Edge. Yeah, basically, yeah. But yeah, there's some really good fights. But the fight against Cursor at the very end, I love because you actually get control of all the characters. And man, I love when games do that, where all the characters that you've unlocked will participate in the final fight. I just love when games do that. I mean, I like that in I like that in some of the Final Fantasy games. I like that in Persona 5 Strikers. I just like when games do that. And then of course there's the DLC campaigns. The first one isn't too much. You just basically play Madame Vostella from the first game, and even of course this game as well sends you to a special battle arena where you have to rescue Spawny. Then the first who was from the first game, and then also then do more challenges to unlock more weapons. Yeah, that's probably the weakest of them. I'm not a big fan of it and can get really difficult. Yeah, but the other two are a bit nice, a bit more better. The second one, you go to a different planet. I think it was meant to be in the base game, but ended up getting cut and brought in as a DLC campaign. And to be fair, I'm actually kind of okay with it because this planet's twice as big as the ones from the base game, and there's some and it's a really fun story. You even get to see Plessy actually show up from Super Mario 64. I love Plessy. And then there's the Rayman DLC, where you take on the Phantom once more to after he summons Rayman, Rabbid Peach, and Rabbid Mario and Beepo to a mysterious television studio. Rayman is perhaps the most equivalent to Donkey Kong, where he has his own unique abilities. He can't access sparks in this. Well, I should mention sparks. The sparks provide a new incentive for how to create skills for levels. I should mention. Um, I like a lot of the sparks. I like the some of the status effect ones, and I love the revived spark and the Rabbid Kong one. But yeah, and even the newer in the Rayman DLC, you get a one where you get to create a copycat ghostly version of yourself, and I like that. But yeah, Rayman that can't use sparks, but what he does have is his own abilities, like from his own series. He can have rocket powers, he can have vortex powers, uh, and he can also summon eggplant sentries akin to Bowser's Mecha Koopas. In many ways, he is more like the this game's equivalent to how Donkey Kong was handling his DLC campaign in the first game. I Yeah, I love controlling Rayman in this, and can especially love his rocket ability. Honestly, it's just and the vortex ability I get a lot of effect with the eggplant grenades. Um, yeah, and exploring this television studio reminded me a lot of Luigi's Mansion 3 with the television studio level on that. But it's still pretty different. There's still some really good, different takes in this, and Rayman's abilities help make it unique, you know. Though it would have been nice if there was a bit more references to Rayman series in general, you know. But you know, he's still good to see him, and you know, personally, it would have been nice if he actually did get to meet Mario. But yeah, you never know. Hopefully, one day, like Smash Bros. Or another or a third game of this, you never know. If I have to be nitpicky, I would have loved to see uh, Rabbid Cranky, and Donkey Kong all appear and have Rabbid Kong appear more than just a cameo for a spark and a hedge at the beginning in the you know the opening of Peach's castle. I just would have liked that, but you know, I would have liked to explore Peach's castle more at the end after after you beat Cursor. It would have been good to explore Peach's castle again like you did in the opening of the game. You know, I'm just saying it would have been nice, but. With that said, I love Sparks of Hope. It's a fantastic game. A worthy sequel to the first game and even surpasses it. 10 out of 10 has stars. No more. Nothing said. Nothing more to be said. It's fantastic. So what's next? Back to movie reviews. And it won't be too long before I get that review done. And ooh, I'm gonna be interested. I'm very interested to see what I think of this movie. You know, a lot of people are disappointed with it, but I don't know. How will I feel about it? I'm not gonna say what it is. My only clue, DreamWorks. But with that said, that DreamWorks clue may also apply to a special video I've got coming up in the near future, which I am still working on. I just want to get this review done first, you know. But in the meantime, House of Masterpieces is out, and I shall see you for my next movie review. Ciao.